Hello and good day. In this video, I'm going to show you something I really think you'll be interested. It's a little experiment that I did, and I enjoyed creating it, and I want to share it with you. And maybe this is something that you can use for your own projects and something you can integrate that can help you save you time. And pretty much what I want to do is show you how I'm using Apple's shortcuts, motion, and compressor to allow me to be able to create these animations in pretty much less than a minute. Let's give it 1 to 2 minutes depending on the complexity of the animation. But I was trying to set up an automation workflow for a previous project that I had. I had to do about 30 animations. The animations were pretty much based on 3 different templates that I created in Motion, but I had to change the actual text and some of the words and some of the music. So I wanted to create an automation workflow that will do it for me in a much quicker way than actually opening up Motion, typing in a text, and going through the whole processes, and then rendering out the videos. So this is what I did. First, I'm going to show you the actual Motion template so you get to see what I'm talking about. So I created different Motion templates, and as you can see, the first line, these are all placeholders. The first line, second line, and the actual message. So there's going to be a message here, the person's name, and the person's title or website, depending on what they want. And also the gray background that moves through, you see it's kind of like a neutral gray. That's also going to change as well. So what's going to trigger all this and what's going to run this automation is going to be a Json file, which is a data exchange file format. And based on this file format, if you go in here, it has a bunch of information. So it has the client name, it has the job ID number, which can be a random number, or it could be automatically created. It has the profile image URL, the image of the person I want to add in the file animation. It has a job title. It has the RGB colors. It has the motion file. That's the actual template that I want to use. It has the time of day. So when I create this JSON file, time of day is automatically added. And then it has some additional information where the file is located. This is just for reference. And also music selection. So the way this JSON file was created is I created another shortcuts workflow that asks a bunch of questions. It asks, what's the client's name? What's the client's title? What's their company colors, and so on. And it creates a JSON file. And it also automatically creates a permanent client file that I can always reference to help save me time for future animations. So once this JSON file is created, which, like I said, you can use a shortcuts app, you can use an online form, you can create an app, whatever it is, it just creates this JSON file and it fills in the information automatically for you. So I could create an online form and have the client themselves or somebody else fill it out for me and then gives me this JSON file. Once that JSON file is created, I can use that to create my animations. So I'm going to show you right here what's going to happen. Inside of this final folder, you can see it's empty. I have an archive folder, but inside of the final folder, it's empty. So I'm going to go back into the new job intake folder. I have the JSON file here. And also when I'm adding the information into my shortcut automation tool to create this job intake, to create this JSON file, it also creates a TXT file with the client's message. And this, I did it separately just so it could hold emojicons, it could hold the actual spacing of the lines. If I want to add extra lines spacing, I can do that here. And I chose to use the TXT file. There might be a way I can do it all inside JSON, but I was running into a roadblock, so I just decided to create a separate file with a TXT. And this is all done automatically, filling out the questionnaire, and the JSON file is created automatically, and also this TXT file. So once that's created, the JSON file is created, I created a shortcut on my touchpad and also created a shortcut here. So if I right mouse click and go to actions, I created an animated quotes new. So just by clicking on this, I'm going to click that now. We're going to see in here The compressor opened up, is ready to receive the motion files. And you're going to see in a few seconds, the animation is going to start right here. And actually two animations are going to be created, one with music and one with no music. So you go, here's the first one, and here's the second one. And then if I go in here into the final folder, you'll see a folder got created. It used my time of day, and I put that at the beginning just so it can keep everything nicely organized in sequential order if I create a lot of these renders. Inside of this folder, I created a receipt file. And the receipt is just pretty much all the information, the main information that's going to be in this animation. I just use that for a reference point. If I need to go back, I don't need to open up the actual render file. I can just look at this quickly and tell what it is. It also created the media folder that has the headshot of the client or the person I want to create this animation for. It renamed it. So I downloaded off the internet, put it into the media folder, and renamed it to headshot. So Motion could recognize it and just grab it and put it inside the Motion project. It duplicated my Motion project that I had selected in the JSON file. As you can see, I have 8 different ones here. So since I chose, I think it was version 2, it automatically duplicated it. And using that shortcut workflow that I created, it duplicated and it filled in all the placeholders for me. So as you can see here, and it renamed it as well, based on the client name and also on the template that I used. And then finally, the renders start going. So the renders, depending on my computer speed, right now it's a little slower because I'm doing the screen record, which it looks like I'm freezing right there. So since I'm doing a screen record and rendering at the same time, it's hitting my CPU a little bit. But as you can tell, my animation is, one of the animations is already done. And here it is. Very simple, very clean little animation I made. So the purpose of this was pretty much somebody else can create the JSON file, and like I said, it can be automatically created from an online form or an assistant or somebody else that doesn't have any animation experience. It could be anybody, just fills in the blanks, or like I said, I created an automation shortcut that asks questions and automatically creates this JSON file, or it can be grabbed down from a spreadsheet or from an online form. And just by simply clicking on one button, I have it on my touch bar and also have it here, quick actions, by clicking on this, the animation's created. So, and I can even take it a step further, that if I have a lot of JSON files, I can create an additional script that'll go through all of them and just spit out all the animations. And I can even create this into a watch folder. So whatever new JSON file gets dropped in here, boom, the animation gets run automatically. So that's a lot I can do. So now I'm going to open up my shortcuts, and I'm just going to briefly show you what I did. It's a little complex. It took, just because I wanted so much done. But the reason I want to show it to you is because I just want to give you an idea of how powerful Shortcuts is. Shortcuts is included with your operating system. You can actually use it on your iPhone or iOS device. And then it's a way to just create automations. And from what I understand, Shortcuts is going to be a replacement for Automator. So it's a really good tool to learn, to understand, especially if you have to do a lot of repetitive stuff. You can go in here and do a lot of amazing things using shortcuts. So I'm going to run you really quick. I mean, I'm using a lot of advanced stuff, like I'm using shell scripting. I'm using a lot of variables. If something has this variable, do this. If it does not, skip it. I have a calculation in here, so it takes those RGB colors that I've inputted and it calculates it so it's friendly for motion to give me the color that I need. And special thanks to the Facebook motion group that I'm part of, that somebody in there, forgot the name, was able to help me figure out how to do this calculation and understand it too. Going forward, I get all my variables here. It's a very complex shortcut. It took me a while to create, but in the future, if I'm doing a lot of these animations, it's going to save me a lot of time. And also, once I created this, I can create hundreds of different motion templates just based with those same placeholders, and this animation, this workflow would just work just the same. So, and I added a lot of stuff here that most people won't need anyway. But me being the person I am, I wanted as much automation as possible. And the last script here, as you can see, is spitting out the two compressor file. It has two commands that runs compressor to spit out the two different files, one with audio and one right here without audio. The second one down here has no audio, and the first one has audio. And it's based on the compressor settings that I have, and using the variables to change the file name and so on. And that's pretty much it. And let me know if you have any questions. And like I said, this was not an in-depth tutorial on how to do this because it's very complex, but I just wanted to show you something very complex that can be done inside of shortcuts. But for much more simple stuff, you can also do it as well. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Thank you and have an amazing day.